Hey guys, Mr. King here. Today we're going to talk about natural resources and we're going to talk a little bit about what these things are and we're going to talk about how we use them in our everyday life and how different animals use them. So what are they? You need them and you want them. They're things that you buy or use in your life. Those things are materials that come from natural resources. And they might be in different forms from the way they look in nature because humans have done different things to them. But the basis of everything that you use is a natural resource. It comes from some item that exists naturally on Earth, and then we do some different processes to make them into different items. So what are they? Natural resources are things found in nature that living things use. And so they're things that occur naturally. We don't have to do anything for these items to be here on Earth. They just occur here naturally without any help from humans. There's no factory processing involved or anything like that. It's a natural resource. It's here on its own. Organisms use natural resources to meet their needs. Examples would be shelter, food, and water. If you think about what we use trees for, trees are a great natural resource. They occur naturally. We don't have to do anything. They grow through decomposers, breaking down organisms and putting nutrients in the soil, and they grow from water, from the water cycle, and the sunlight, and all those contribute to allow it to grow. But then we use it for shelter. We build homes out of them. Animals might have a home inside a tree. We also use different natural resources for food. We've talked about how almost all producers are things that we can eat, and those grow through the use of the sun. And so they are naturally occurring without us doing anything. They spread their seeds from the wind, can blow those around and plant them in different areas, and they grow on their own. And then water is another natural resource that's kind of essential for life, where we're talking about staying hydrated and digestion, but you can also have it for shelter or transportation. You can move an organism from one place to another, or give them a hiding spot, or you can give them a habitat if we're talking about fish or anything that lives in a lake or an ocean. So some examples of natural resources. We have nutrients, which come from fruits and vegetables, so that goes back to the producers that are growing on their own through the process of photosynthesis. Trees, we use those all the time to provide lumber to build different structures. And then minerals would be like the different types of things we find in the ground, gold, for example, or iron ore. And those are different minerals we can pull out, and we can make those into different things. We use another mineral called crude oil, which is a dark, thick, black liquid, to make plastic. And then the metal that you see on the screen here that we're talking about, that would be from iron ore, and that would be pounded down into when you think about how things are held together with like metal screws and things like that, and big buildings that are made out of metal, skyscrapers. Those are all from minerals that are found in the ground. Once again, those are all natural resources. They occur on their own. So how do we use the resources? We use them to make items that we use each day, such as an iPad. And the iPad is becoming a very, very popular thing. Most homes have an iPad now, it seems like, and there's a lot of natural resources used in an iPad. So you have the cardboard box and the packaging that it comes in. That comes from trees. You take the tree and cut it down, and you can refine the pulp from the tree, and then you can make a thick paper product that is cardboard. Plastic that is used for the cover and the case, that's made from crude oil. That's that mineral that I was talking about. That's the dark, thick, black liquid that you find in the ground. And then the metal screws are made from iron ore. And once again, that's a mineral that you have to dig down in the ground. And so some of these natural resources are very evident. You can see them, like the trees are growing, and you can see those anytime. But plastic from crude oil and metal from iron ore, you actually have to dig down and mine into the earth and pull out those different minerals to make those products. And you refine them and go through a bunch of processes to make them usable. So making the iPad, it takes energy to get the natural resources and make them into the parts of an iPad. So if we're talking about digging down and mining some iron ore to make the metal screws that go on the iPad or the circuit boards, all that has to be dug out using machinery, which is using different types of gasoline, which is from crude oil as well. And then you go to the factory, and the factory is powered by coal, which is a natural resource that exists naturally here on Earth. And so there's all these different things that go into, you think, oh, it's a tiny little iPad, but there's so much that goes into it. So here's a little video about how they make the iPad. It's just kind of cool to see how it goes about, but also think about all the different resources they use.
It's 7 in the morning at the gates of Foxconn's Longhua factory campus in the southern Chinese city of Shenzhen. Nearly 250,000 people work at this factory. The average age runs from 18 to 25 years old. 99% of them are migrant workers who have traveled across China to earn money to send back home. Outside the iPad production line, a supervisor gives her workers their daily assembly line assignments. The first part of the assembly line is this floor, where workers assemble the iPad's motherboard. Foxconn recently introduced machines to do part of the work on this line. Here, a machine attaches a tiny buckle to the motherboard. If anything goes wrong with this particular iPad, Apple uses this buckle to trace the machine back to this line on this date.
So you can see all the metal there.
Later on
That's
in the
all
assembly
minerals.
line, the motherboard and other components are installed inside the iPad housing.
Here come the screws.
Each step in the line adds a new component, and some steps take just seconds to complete. Like this step, where a machine is used to press the iPad battery into the housing. Workers usually rotate their jobs every few days. Workers on this line start out making around $14 a day. After a couple of years, their salary doubles. After workers install the LED touchscreen display, the iPad is nearly complete. But first, the iPad takes a ride on a machine that tests its gyroscope, which is used when playing video games. A few more screen tests, and the iPad is boxed up and sent to addresses throughout the developed world. The work is tedious and boring, but each day hundreds of people line up outside the factory to apply for jobs here. On this day, 500 applicants, many of them tired from traveling days from their home village, arrive with the hopes of working here. The supply is continuous. One reason is that compared to other Chinese factories, Foxconn is considered by workers to be one of the best. The company has invested millions into amenities like athletic fields for its workers, and unlike many factories in China, it pays its workers on time. Still, more workers these days are leaving Shenzhen to return home to work. Foxconn has picked up on this trend. It's located its newest factories in China's interior to be closer to where much of China's labor supply comes from.
So you think, like this iPad, what's that have to do with natural resources, things that are out in nature? But it's everything. We take all the things in nature and we pull them out of the ground, and then we put them through different processes in a factory, and we create devices and items that are usable for our everyday life. So the energy in the factory, we create electricity. You saw all those different machines that were moving, and obviously there's lots of lights and things using electricity. Said 250,000 people work there. That's 250,000 people working in one factory. That's just a tremendous amount of people, so it's huge. And so all of those machines are powered by electricity in one form or another. And you can create electricity by using natural resources. Some common ways of doing it, and the most common way is burning coal. Once again, coal is a mineral that you have to mine from under the ground, and you pull that out and then you burn it, and that helps to create electricity. And I'll show you a video in a minute or so how that kind of goes. Trucks use gasoline or diesel fuel to transport natural resources to factories. So they mine them and they pull them out of the ground, all those minerals, and then you got to load them and bring them to a factory so you can change them into the types of products you want. But the gasoline that all vehicles use is made from crude oil, which is another natural resource. So a natural resource exists on its own in a certain form. To make it usable, we change it into something else. Gasoline is not a natural resource. You can't dig down in the ground and find gasoline. You can dig down in the ground and find crude oil, and then you can change that crude oil by several processes into gasoline. So the natural resource is how it exists in nature on its own, but then we change it into some different things that we really want to use. So coal power, the electricity used to power the machines that make the iPad, comes from burning coal. You might think, well, how does burning coal, create electricity? Here's a video that explains that. It's pretty cool because you just need to create heat, basically, to boil some water. And this will show you a little bit of that process and how it works. And once again, coal is a natural resource. It's a mineral. It's in the ground. there's only so much of it. We don't have an unlimited supply, but this is the way we generate
The
most
huge building you
electricity.
see behind me is one of Ontario Power Generation's fossil fuel generating stations. This one uses coal. Other fossil fuel generating stations use oil and natural gas to make electricity. In essence, it's a factory that converts the energy from burning coal into a flow of electrons, or what is commonly called electricity, the electricity that powers the province.
And we've talked about electricity and the movement of
Coal is
electrons.
shipped to the station by freighter or train, where it's then transferred to the coal yard. There, large machines called tractor scrapers arrange the coal into storage piles. A series of conveyors transports the coal into the plant, where it passes through enormous pulverizers that grind the coal into a fine powder prior to burning. The pulverized coal is fed into a large industrial furnace that is surrounded by boiler tubes filled with water. The intense heat from the burning coal heats the water in the boiler tubes and turns it into steam. The steam is transferred under pressure at high speed through large pipes to turbines like these. It's this pressure and flow that pushes the blades of the turbine, causing it to spin. The turbine is connected to a generator that contains a rotor. Large electromagnets are attached to the rotor that is located within coils of copper wire called the stator. As the generator rotor spins, a flow of electrons is created in the stator. This produces electricity that can be stepped up in voltage through the station transformers and sent from the station across transmission lines.
That's that charging by contact that we talked about.
The steam from the turbine is condensed
the
back to
electrons go
water
from one
using
place to
cooling
another.
water from the lake and pumped back to the boiler where it is reheated to continue the process.
So, in a nutshell, all you have to do is figure out a way to turn some turbine blades from creating steam in order to make electricity. And so by burning coal, which gives off a tremendous amount of heat, they're able to do that. And that's why that's such a popular natural resource, and that's such a popular way to create electricity. Now, we'll be talking a little bit about different ways to create electricity and different ways to use our natural resources. And there's two types of natural resources that we'll be talking about, and we have renewable and non-renewable. And we're going to talk about the benefits of using renewable energy over non-renewable and how that'll help our environment. So I hope you guys have a great night. We will get pretty deep into this stuff and learn about it because it's important. It's your world. And the world that you have, we've only got one. And the natural resources, since they occur naturally, if we use them all, we're going to run out. So we have to figure out a way to conserve those and keep them around for future generations. All right, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I will see you all tomorrow.